Baltimore Ravens are in the midst of OTAs, and we're finally getting to watch some football. And if you've been tuning in, paying attention, there have been 3 players that have really caught my eye, that have really caught the media's eyes over the last couple of weeks, and we're going to talk about them today on the show. 3 guys who are absolutely balling out. Little bit of a reminder, if you did not know, the Ravens are in the tail end of their final OTA session today. And then after the 13th, they're done with OTAs. They get a couple days off, and they go back to mandatory minicamp next Tuesday. That's right, next Tuesday. And then they'll get a little bit of a break and come back for training camp. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not trying to get drunk off of the Kool-Aid from OTAs. Like, I'm trying my hardest. But at the same time, it's really, really hard. Like, you see all those players that you talked about during the draft, the rookies, they're out there, the second-year guys, you're seeing them take those steps. Everybody's in the best shape of their life, and it's so easy to get ahead of yourself and just think, you know what, this is going to be the best team of football. I'm trying to stay level-headed, but I'm telling you this to admit it's a little bit hard to do. Something that's not hard to do, hit that subscribe button, okay? We are in the middle of a race to 35,000 subscribers with Mavericks today. We're only 150 subs behind them. I need you guys to help me out. Hit that subscribe button to help us climb the rankings here at Chat Sports, okay? This is a very competitive office. We all want to be the best. You want the Ravens Rundown to be the best it can be. New viewers, I'm looking at you guys. Y'all hit that sub button because, hey, it's free as well. Let's start with the OTA standouts. How about the first round selection? That is one Mr. Malachi Starks. And I want to highlight Malachi to start and talk about him because this all started when Sarah Ellison tweeted out kind of at the beginning of OTAs. I think people were pretty nervous in the beginning and saying, you know what, Malachi isn't necessarily doing everything and that we kind of hoped he would. He's not necessarily flashing, right? And John Harbaugh said they hadn't flashed yet. But he was still learning the defense. And he also hadn't made a mistake yet. Then Harbaugh went on to say, with our Darius Washington situation, it's a lot on his plate right now. So he's going to have to step up. But that's why we drafted him in the first round. So it took a little bit from him. It took a couple of days to kind of finally get those feet wet. But once he did, after the first about week and a half of OTAs, it seems like Malachi Starks is kind of finally rounding a corner and really starting to get his feet under him. Here's a little bit more from Ryan Mink. Rookie safety Malachi Starks closed quickly when it looked like Rush had an easy touchdown throw to fullback Patrick Ricard during a red zone drill. Starks made Rush hesitate, and he ended up throwing an incompletion in the back of the end zone. And that's something I like a lot about Malachi Starks. Something I loved about him coming out of Georgia. He's got so many different tools in his bag. He's aggressive, he's fast, he has great ball skills, and I think my favorite thing about him is his intelligence. And Eric DeCosta has already spoke on it ad nauseum, saying the way that he could discuss football, his awareness, his ability to call out the plays from their defense before we even show the plays just based on formation, his ability to dissect and talk about what happened any given play and to know what his teammates were doing on any given play. I mean, it was like he was a coach. And let's be real, he's going to need to show that this year, okay? Kyle Hamilton, he's going to do Kyle Hamilton things. He is almost a perfect football player. And Malachi Starks is going to be thrown into a really big role, like John Harbaugh said. Our Darius Washington went down. He's going to be down for probably the first 13, 14, maybe the entirety of the regular season. A lot was thrown onto his plate. But I have a really, really strong feeling he's going to be able to handle it. Because I'm really happy seeing that he's already getting up to speed. And it did take him a little while. He spoke to the media on Monday. Jamison Hensley talked about it. And he said the field is completely different than college. Like when they would say my job was at the numbers, I was going to the college numbers, right? A lot's going on in his head. It's a lot of changes, a lot different. We're not surprised it took a couple of weeks of OTAs, but now that he's been through that, he's learned a lot. Seems like he's really turning a corner. Let's talk about our second OTA standout. That is tight end Isaiah Likely. And speaking of Malachi Starks speaking on Monday, Malachi Starks actually said that Isaiah Likely has been the toughest guy to cover in practice so far. That's comparing him to Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, Mark Andrews, he thinks likely is the hardest guy to cover. So he's faster than he looks on TV as well. That's fantastic news. That's wonderful. And what's going to be really interesting this year is that it's such a big year for likely because both him and Mark Andrews are in contract years. Both of those guys will be viewed under a microscope. Both of those guys, whether you like it or not, they're going to be compared to each other all season long, even more than they already have been. Good thing is, Isaiah Likely, he's making some plays in OTAs. Ryan Mink went on to say, tied in, and Isaiah Likely made 2 long receptions down the sideline from quarterback Cooper Rush. I've got the feeling that Isaiah Likely has the ability to be one of the best. And not just one of the best on this team, but one of the best in the National Football League because he does so many things so well. If you look at this chart, it's tight end performance, run blocking, and or verse receiving production. So basically, how good are you at both? And the further to the top right you are, that means the better and more well-rounded of a tight end that you are. And look who's closest to the top right on this entire list. So far away from really anybody else. That's right, Isaiah Likely. He can block with the best of them. He can receive with the best of them. Like, this dude has so many tools in his tool belt. And right now, I know it says tight end 2 on that depth chart, but in reality, I think we all know that this is just tight end 1A and tight end 1B. And I think by the end of the year, it might be Likely tight end 1A and Andrews tight end 1B. It's just going to be all up to him, but the good thing is his signs are showing he's playing some of his best football right now. Who gets extended out of these 2 cats right here? Is it Isaiah Likely or is it Mark Andrews? You let me know which of those 2 you would extend in the comment section down below. Coming up on the show, one more player we're going to discuss who's been absolutely balling. You're going to be really excited to hear it. And no, it's not Lamar Jackson, even though, speaking of him, you can get his jersey right now, chatsports.com/Lamar jersey for only $80. They've got the purple with the gold numbers. They've got the black with the white numbers, 20% off. And I've been saying this all week long. This is one of those June deals. Once we get out of June, once we get into training camp, then into preseason, then into the football season, you're not going to be able to find a Lamar Jackson jersey for just $80, okay? So I don't care if you need it now or don't. This is the time to get it. Chatsports.com/Lamar jersey. That link's going to be in the comments and in the description of today's video. Head there right now. Take advantage of this offer. Support us here at the Ravens Rundown. Support our friends over at Fanatics. Of course, support your Baltimore Ravens. Let's talk about our third OTA standout, a guy who we've actually given a good bit of talking about already is DeAndre Hopkins. And last week, Todd Monken talked to the media after practice and talked a little bit about DeAndre Hopkins. And, we're trying to get him up to speed, but so far, he has been great. And he's been great, ladies and gentlemen. Todd Monken wasn't lying. Jonas Schaefer went on to describe some of the plays he's made, saying Hopkins caught all 3 of Lamar's targets in 11-on-11 work, settling into an intermediate zone before making a diving catch on throw, separating from Wiggins and making a full extension grab to the right sideline on an out-breaking route, finally beating Humphrey on the out route along the sideline. I think Hopkins is already surprising people. I got so frustrated with people's thoughts on the DeAndre Hopkins signing. And sure, a lot of it is just people on Twitter who haven't watched a down of Ravens football or really haven't watched a down of football that isn't the Dallas Cowboys or the Kansas City Chiefs in the last 5 years. And they think that they know ball, right? But getting DeAndre Hopkins on a 1-year, $5 million deal is wonderful value, and it's already paying off, I'd say, so far through OTAs. Jeff Zrebiak went on to tweet about Todd Monken, saying that he doesn't see Hopkins as a number 3 wide receiver. That's coming from the offensive coordinator. Sees him more as the Ravens having 3 starting wide receivers, and Hopkins, Bateman, and Zay Flowers. And I truly think, while there might not be one guy who is like a cut above the rest in terms of being a wide receiver You know, like there's no Jamar Chase, there's no Justin Jefferson on this roster, but you have three guys who would be starters, I feel like, on every single team in the National Football League. That's a little bit rare. These three guys are really good, and this position group is really deep. If I had to ask you who gets more receiving yards in 2025 of these three guys, you let me know in the comment section down below. Is it Flowers? Is it Bateman? Is it Hopkins? Let me know your answer. We're going to end with a little bit of an honorable mention. How about undrafted free agent Chandler Martin, who's been playing very, very well? Ryan Mink went on to say that undrafted inside linebacker Chandler Martin nearly came up with a pick for the second time during OTAs thus far. Now, he said nearly came up with a pick, meaning he didn't intercept the ball, but still he's making plays, and this is a position group. We talked about it right after the draft. This thing is wide open, the inside linebacker room. You lost a lot of people in the offseason. The Giants, to the Steelers. There's room to be made on this roster for an inside linebacker that makes plays. And if Chandler Martin's making plays, they don't care if you were taken in the second round or if you are an undrafted free agent. They're going to put the best players on the team. Make sure you guys are following on social media. Joey Petersen 8 is where you'll find me on both Instagram and on X. Make sure you're following me for daily updates on your Baltimore Ravens. And make sure you're following here by hitting that subscribe button. We do daily long-form videos, 10 to 15 minutes every single day, every single week, every month, all year long. You get the gist. Make sure you lock us in by subscribing.